Good morning. I'm behind the gavel with Jason. Today we're going to talk about Art Deco bronzes. We're going to talk about some things to look for. Why is one better than the other? Why are some more desirable than the others? Talk about some of the things you want to be looking for, some of the details you want to know about, what the market is doing, what it's doing, and some other objects here on today's episode of Behind the Gavel with Jason. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be we do this every Friday morning. Love to come to you guys and ask questions and answer questions that you might have. I'm just sharing this on my page real quick. And so here we go. Share now. Excellent. So Art Deco bronze is kind of a broad topic. Thanks, Vonda. Thanks, James, for watching. If you have any questions, let us know. Art Deco bronze is a broad topic. I did a little bit of research before we started today. Just went to eBay and typed in Art Deco bronze to see what would come up. And as of right now, there are 27,945 items that have Art Deco bronze in the title. Now, there could be watches, an Art Deco watch with a bronze finish. It could have been chandeliers. It could have been anything else like that. But a lot of them are actual bronze sculpture. And so and of that, in the soles, there was 2,800, so about 10% sell. So what are people looking for there and through us? We sell a lot of these pieces regularly. And what are the things you should be looking for if you're working through an estate or out there in the field looking and buying and selling, or just curious as to what people are looking for? So I'm going to talk about, I have 4 here on my desk. We're working with a collection right now that has a nice collection of these. Our client collected these over many, many years, and they're part of our estate. And so we have things like this really kind of modernist, a real, deco rabbit, an elephant. And then the fourth one I want to talk about is this Sphinx and the pyramids. Kind of a wide range, but they all tell a specific story. So let's start with this one. One of the things that I've noticed in this collection, and these items particularly, which is unusual, is that a lot of these are marked on the marble in ways that you don't see done currently. This one has inscribed in Austria. You can see right there, right by my finger, signed, Austria in the marble, which is pretty unusual. And it's been there for a long time. You can tell it's not something somebody added. Most of these have no markings on them. And so knowing that this is from Austria helps locate where it was made, obviously. It also kind of gives you an idea of when it might have been made. Austrian decorative arts was really strong in the 20s and 30s. Wiener Werkstatt, Hagenauer, there's a lot of different companies that were producing pieces at that time, and it's a very popular time frame to be associated with Art Deco objects. And so when you see a piece that is marked Austria, you know that that's probably from the more well-known or collected houses that made these things. This looks a lot like a Hagenauer figure who made bronze figures and then was applied to this marble onyx base, which is very common. You see this a lot in these type of pieces. And so that's one of the things I noticed right away, is that this was actually signed Austria. Again, all those companies we talked about. And what's interesting about this is it's really a modern deco. There's absolutely no detail on her face, but that's intentional. And so that's a really kind of a neat figure. It looks like she's gazing across a pond, very contemplative image. So this piece we expect to do quite well and be very, very popular, because not only is it a great color and nice condition, a little bit of chipping, but there's a really interesting aspect to it. It's not just a girl in a skirt standing next to a pond like that. It's almost like this woman is contemplating life's stories. And that kind of has a much deeper connection to somebody than what would be considered a standard, mass-produced image, right? Here's another really interesting one from the collection. An extremely deco-styled rabbit, jumping, bouncing rabbit. And this one is actually stamped made in France, or actually inscribed made in France on the side there. You can kind of see it right there. So again, we know this is French, made in France, probably dictates that this is made in the 30s, 20s or 30s. And it's very, very, very stylized, and a lot of action, a lot of activity going on here, right? A leaping rabbit is so much more compelling than a rabbit that's just sitting there. or chewing on a carrot. Very sweet, very cute. This isn't a sweet and cute rabbit. This is a very aggressive rabbit, which again will attract a much more competitive bidding environment and be much more desirable in the marketplace than a standard rabbit. There's no markings on the patinated bronze. It's actually silver patent on that bronze. And again, you can see it's just a nice chunk of onyx on a pedestal. And again, it's a nice small size. We use a lot of places. And so this is going to be another we think, a hotly contested piece in the auction because it has all of those things going on for it, right? If this was just a rabbit on an onyx base that was not made in France, it was made in wherever, any place, England or America or wherever, a rabbit on a stand is going to be $40, $50, $60 because it's cute, and you can sell a cute thing for all that. This is probably going to be in the $300 to $500 range because it has so much action and it's compelling, and the marble is more of a pedestal. It's like a plinth. It's actually, look at me, world, I'm a rabbit coming at you. So that's kind of a really cool thing. So those two are the better pieces in the group of 4 that I have. Again, they have more interesting, compelling imagery. The viewer, the potential buyer, can make a lot of interesting observations about them and can speculate. Art is such an emotional thing, and those both elicit emotion. If you have questions about what we're talking about, go ahead and post them below. I'm here I'll be happy to answer them for you, what we're talking about. So here's another really good looking one that looks great at first glance. The Sphinx and the pyramids on a kind of a mocha colored onyx base. I actually like this one quite a bit. But what's interesting is it has a great first impression, but when you start looking at it, the details aren't as strong. Trying to get a good light source there. You can tell exactly what it is, but there's no detail in the brick. There's no detail in the Sphinx. It's stylized, but it's not super stylized. It's very, very generic, and it's very stagnant and stationary. There's not a lot of activity. There's not a lot to draw you in. It's a good looking image, and it will be popular. It's not a piece that we've seen often. It's a decent size. You could use it as a letter rack really easily. Let's see if I have an envelope sitting here on the desk. You could easily, put letters in there on your desk so it has some use. That's going to help it. You could put pens in there. There's like a little pen rest. You can do a lot of different things with it. But at the end of the day, the quality isn't as good as the first two. So this one's probably going to sell around $100 to $150. It's still better than the $30 to $40 ones you see regularly, but it's not that $300, $400, $500 or more object. Good looking, but not great. And I think that's also a little bit later, probably from the mid to late 40s, maybe even into the 50s. Again, you see it's connected the same way, just a screw on the bottom for the two objects. So nice, it's going to be fine. The last thing I want to bring up is this. It looks very similar, right? It has the same kind of green, has a figure on it. Looks similar in a house setting, a clutch setting, but this is actually an American thing. It's an acro-agate glass base, and it's a spelter elephant, right? So it's not bronze, it's spelter for one thing. So it's a cheaper metal to produce. It's easier to mass produce them. The cost of the goods cost less originally, so it costs less to produce it. So you could sell it for less originally. What does that mean? That means they sold more originally. For every one of these that was sold, there was probably 100 of these sold. There's some good with that. People do collect, acro-agate pieces because it's easy. You know what it is. If you collect acro-agate, you know exactly that that's the jade with an oxblood in it. And so it has that marble look, but it's all glass. So again, mass produced. There's no carving here like there is in the onyx. It's all poured into a mold, and they can produce them quickly. And so this piece, it's a nice thing. It's a decorative thing, but it's probably on its own $15 to $25, maybe $30. I'll find a couple of people like elephants, because again, it has all those factors. There's more availability of it. There was more produced originally. It was a cheaper, lesser price point originally. So there's less demand for it today because there's more supply, and they weren't as coveted when they were new. This piece, again, this was probably bought in like a Montgomery Ward's, Five and Dime, Woolworths. This was probably bought in a jewelry store. Comparing it today, it'd be like this at a decorative object from IKEA compared to Hall's here in Kansas City. Same thing holds true historically. Jones store was always more than Woolworth's. Thayer in Kansas City was always on that same level as Jones store and Dillard's. And so objects bought in those kinds of stores were a better quality, generally made with a better quality material, more expensive materials, and they cost more new. So they sold less originally, and they hold their value better historically. So those are some of the things we talk about. Those same kind of concepts hold true in almost everything that we sell. We've talked about that in picture frames and in jewelry and in costume jewelry and in porcelains. The objects that hold better value in the antique, estate, and auction world were, generally speaking, higher value objects to begin with. Scarcity of supply, demand is always better for better quality pieces, and there are just not as many of them out there. So it's truly a supply and demand conversation with anything that we sell. But with these, you can really see the differences, and especially if you hold these in your hand. These are roughly the same size. This figure with the woman and this figure with the elephant are roughly the same size, but this one's a good 3 or 4 times the weight as this one. This one is, I bet this doesn't weigh 10, 12 ounces. This weighs several pounds, right? So the quality of the material is better. All those things cost more. Shipping it when it was originally produced cost more. It was a higher, it took more fuel to move that train with 100 of those as opposed to 100 of that. So that's always been a factor, right? So those are just things you want to keep in mind. Quality, what did it cost new, condition, and then is there something about it that makes it more appealing than a generic version of the same? Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them below on our YouTube channel below. Send us a private message on any of these links and forums as well. You can also always give us a phone call at 816-283-3633, and email at info@kcauctioncompany.com. Info at letter K, letter C, auction, and company is spelled out.com. Anytime, day or night, we'll get back to you. We have an answering service, answers the phone 24/7. And if you have questions about anything we talked about today, something you'd like us to address in the future, I think next week is Thanksgiving, so I probably won't be doing a live video. I'll probably replay something from our past. But we're going to be talking quite a bit in the near future about different antique objects. Also, somebody asked me to talk about authenticity and verification of antiques, and especially artwork. So that's something we're going to be looking at, and I'm pretty excited about that. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Winter is kind of back again. It's 30 degrees for a high, 33 degrees for a high here in Kansas City, and we're looking forward to that. It's supposed to be a relatively nice weekend, a little bit of rain, but nothing too terrible. So thanks for watching. Have any questions, let us know, and share this with your friends if you think it would benefit them as well. Have a good afternoon.